Hey, welcome to How to Scrum mini series. My name is Safraz Aaron, and here I'll be talking to you about the bare essentials of Scrum, Agile project development. And the idea here is to give you the bare essentials to get you being an effective Scrum Master. And I will be sharing with you my tips and techniques in a very simple form, very simple format. And if you want to really get more into detail, more comprehensive understanding, more techniques, then check out the course on my howtoscrum.com website. Over there, you'll find the course goes into much more detail, and you'll pick up all the information that you need to be an effective Scrum Master. For today, I'll be talking about the essentials of Scrum, basics of Agile project management. So today, we're going to talk about Agile from the top, very basic terms. What is Agile project development, and how to use Scrum framework to deliver the Agile project themselves. So we all know that in waterfall, we have very simple steps, starting from requirements analysis, into design, into build, and then we test it, and then we deploy it. Very simple terms. So how does Agile fit into all this? Agile just says we just need to make sure that the whole thing, all these sequential steps, are put into some kind of a requirements at the beginning. You put this into some kind of a iterative 2-week cycle called sprint, and at the end of it, you're going to produce something that comes out a part of the product. So that's how Agile is taking the same approach, waterfall, but instead of taking from, say, January all the way to, say, December, we're moving that into 2-week cycles. So you're clearing everything in the backlog every 2 weeks and producing something that looks like the end product. All the time you're asking the product owner, is this the right thing? Is this the right thing? And anytime they give you feedback, you incorporate that into the next sprint. So at a very high level as a Scrum Master, you just need to understand the basics, that the whole thing is waterfall but squeezed into every 2-week sprints. But at the end of it, we will clear the requirements which are going into this backlog and cleared every 2 weeks and got a feedback from the product owner. So this is a very high level. As a Scrum Master, you need to understand so that when the team challenges you, hey, is this waterfall you're doing now? Is this Agile? You just need to explain that this is no different. It's just that one is squeezed into 2 weeks and one is like a long 1-year project or more. Okay, so we talked about how we want to capture the requirements from the Agile perspective, which all goes into this backlog. So how does this backlog organize itself in Scrum? So first of all, we need to have Epic, which is our level 1. And then underneath epics, you have stories. You may have a spike. You may have a task. So that is level 2. So there's level 3 as well. Level 3 is a story may have subtasks. So you have subtask 1, subtask 2. So this is level 3. As a Scrum Master, you need to remember that all this epic, stories, spikes, tasks, subtasks, all sit within the backlog. So at the end of the day, what you want to work as a Scrum team is to clear this backlog on a 2-week sprints. So at the end of the day, you will create, or you will build this product that the product manager was visioning, and every 2 weeks you are showing them, is this the right product? Do we need to get any feedback? Do we need to pivot to make it sure that we're going to get to the right kind of product at the end of the day? So that's how the components of Scrum are broken down. From level 1 is the epic, very high level. Underneath that, you got all your stories, spikes, and tasks. Just to give you an idea, what is a spike? You might be asked, a Scrum Master, hey, what's a spike? Why do you need a spike? You're going to say, well, if you don't know what you would need to do for particular function, for a particular tool. You're going to say, let's create a spike. Spike is like exploration, discovery, go and find out. And from there, you're going to come back and say, oh, I've decided we're going to do this, this, this. From that, you're going to create a story or multiple stories. You may even create a document or process, whatever. You're going to come out from that spike is going to be all these kind of good things. So whenever you're a Scrum Master, the team is not sure how they're going to do something, you're always going to recommend to them, let's do a spike. So that's what the actual kind of breakdown of a components looks like within Scrum. Epic, stories, spikes, and then subtasks. So next what you're going to talk about is how do you do some of the ceremonies within Scrum. So you have your backlog. You're going to take that backlog and you're going to so this is your product backlog. You're going to break this down into smaller kind of chunk from that, i.e. the backlog is prioritized by the product owner. So you're going to take the top 3, top 5 into this sprint backlog. Over here is what the team's going to break down into kind of smaller stories. So you're going to get them clarified. You're going to estimate. And possibly you're going to assign somebody to that story or a task in the sprint backlog. And then once you got that clear, you're going to start that sprint, which is 2 weeks, and that becomes your active sprint. So this is the process of how you take the backlog and how you do the planning. So this is your backlog refinement. This is your sprint planning. And when you do this active sprint, you will do your daily stand-ups. At the end of 2 weeks, you're going to do your demo. Following that, you're going to do your retro. So these are the 5 main Scrum ceremonies you have to follow. As a Scrum Master, as a tip I can give you is that most likely you're going to say, the team might say to you, hey, I don't need my retro. Let's just do the demo and move into next sprint. No, don't do that, because a retro is a time for the team to reflect on what went well, what can they improve on, and anything they want to do as a continuous improvement. It's a way of relaxing, understanding, so that they don't make the same mistake over and over again. So it's important to do the retro. You must do the retro. And it doesn't have to be hours or 2 hours. It could be 45 minutes, it could be 1 hour. Okay? So this is the flow of how to take the information or the requirement from the backlog into your sprint backlog. That becomes your active sprint, and that kind of completes after 2 weeks, and you start all over again. So it becomes rinse and repeat. This process continues until the backlog is all empty. Once the backlog is empty, you know that you have produced or built, the team has built the product that the product owner was expecting. So this is the basics of Scrum, basics of Agile project management, and how Scrum framework can help the Agile project management. I've given you very high level what is the difference between Agile and Waterfall, how they are similar but in a different context. It's just a mindset. I've given you some tips and techniques about making sure that the retrospective is done, how the backlog needs to be cleared to make sure that the actual product is built. And you're always taking a feedback from the product owner to make sure that you're going the right way. So as a Scrum Master, you need to make sure the ceremonies are kind of scheduled, people are adhering to that. You're making sure that the flow is clear, they know exactly what to do, the process is clear, what they're supposed to do in each of these ceremonies is clear. And you as a servant leader is making sure they are following that. As a servant leader, you don't have any power to make them do anything. You're only encouraging them. You're the coach. You're the mentor. So this is what a Scrum Master is going to do is to make sure they understand the Agile principles, they understand the Scrum framework. At the end of the day, you are the kind of the visionary to drive the team towards what the product owner is looking to achieve. So I hope this series has given you enough information around what are the basics of Scrum and Agile project management. And keep tuned. I'll be talking about the next topic as part of your Fast Track Scrum Master course. Like I said, if you want more detail about learning about Scrum, visit howtoscrum.com. There's a very comprehensive course there, Scrum Master, how to Scrum to become an effective Scrum Master. So until then, see you next time.